Cochise. Good boy. This is Dakota's son for everyone who has not met him yet. And Dakota, our alpha male, who now is right behind me. Good boy. So the title of my talk today is Count on It. So we're going to talk about things that you count on, people that you count on. And I thought of him because he's the only male, the puppy pack. So he has a specific role as the male around his 5 sisters. And so they count on them for that, and he is counted on for that, and he actually knows it. He knows it's his job, and he does it really, really well. So to begin the talk, I just want to introduce him to that. But look, Margie made this basket for our prayer feathers that she introduced us to last week. But the idea, these are turkey feathers, which is the eagle of the south. And when you hold it, your prayers take flight. So you're welcome to sit and hold one through the service. And you can either take it home if you would like to have one at home as well, or you can pick one up and leave it by the door. Paul got his handy drill out and fixed it right up for us. He's fast, man. Yay! Anyway, I know. This one has a really hard time in the room, even though I brought him in for this lesson, for this wolf wisdom lesson, but he has a hard time being away from his sisters because he takes his job so personally. And he's very successful at it. When we are out on the property, one of the first years that we were here, and we had a neighbor who decided he wanted to walk his multiple dogs down the street in front of us on the Thursday at the same time as we do our outdoor training with them. So can you imagine these little yappy dogs that think they can take on a pack of wolves? Oh. You know those ones, the little ones that go. So he's walking down the street, this guy, and he's got these little white yappy dogs, who are trying to get across the street to the wolves, by the way. And they're whistle trained. And so Paul and I, we got the entire pack over by the pond and away from the fence except this one. It didn't matter what we did.
He's white, Pudgy's white.
And then I walked over and I watched him, and they did finally, they got to about, the middle of our fence down here, and then decided to turn around and go back. Good boy. And,
I like it.
and then they headed back. And Cochise followed him the whole way, nose to the fence. And he went all the way to the corner, and he made sure they were out of sight. And then he turned around with a big old smile on his face. Now he's been growling and, at the fence the whole time. And he turns around and he runs right back to the back. So it's not like where he just could not be called off his job. His instinct was to take care of the rest of the pack, and that's his job. So you can always count on him for that. Because in the wolf pack, they have their positions, and intuitively they were born with it. And so we have people in our world that are the same way. We have jobs, we have intuitions, we have natures, we have our uniqueness. And we count on that for ourselves, for our own sanity, for our own well-being, for our own self-esteem, and then we count on others. Do you know what I mean? To be what they are uniquely in their pack, so that it all works together. But as mad as we could be at him whistleblowing and him not paying attention and him needing more training, I don't know how we would have gotten him off that corner by himself when the rest of the pack was over here and happy to be in the pack. And we just waited for him, and he turned around, and once the threat was over, and he ran happily over to us. And then we were filming a music video out in the forest out here right after the fire. And he was part of it, and they wanted them to run by this actress. So the camera was here, and it was showing the back of this woman, and then the wolves were supposed to run past her. And so we had them in that position, and we let Cochise go, we let the other pack members go, and they ran, and they stopped for the food, and Cochise kept going. He kept going. I kept following him. Now, he didn't run anywhere except back here. And the whole time, he kept like walking, and he kept like stopping to look back to see if I was following him, and if I was with him. And he just marched himself right back to this fence over here and put his nose to the gate and waited for me to open it. Because he needs to be near his sisters. He needs to be doing his job. You can count on him for that. So some of the lessons that we've learned in watching their dynamic is trying to push them past their nature or push them into something that's not their nature. It's not necessarily a successful idea. You know, trying to change him from being the pack member he is and the contribution that he makes. So you see him very rarely in here because this is difficult for him. But for this lesson, it was really important to bring him in here and let you know. Now he's closer this way. We used to train in here. This used to be a carport, and he hated training. Oh, you took him out of the, oh, he was bad. He was bad. He would just come in and look at you like, what am I doing here? And he just kept pulling to get out of here. Any kind of trick we were trying to get him to do, just to sit and lay down like he's doing now, was a big challenge. But when we built this and we took away their training center here, we took it next to their enclosure. And then all of a sudden, because he can be with his sisters and he can be training right next to them, he's like, ooh, I wanna. Big lesson, another big lesson. You know, a lot of times we push ourselves and we push our children into a situation where we want them to excel in something that is uncomfortable to them and not in their nature to do. Now, I'm not saying that you don't push, you know, your kids to try things and to explore new ideas, but sometimes when you know this is not them in their element, and that is never going to be their element, then pushing them into trying to function in not in their element becomes cruelty and starts to alienate you from them. You know, so it's very, very hard sometimes to like walk these two roads. Like what you can count on from a parent, what you can count on from your children, what you can count on from each other. But I know this about this boy. I can always count on him to be careful and to take care of his sisters. And he doesn't want any other job. Because Freedom has, you know, when he started to challenge Cochise's position in the pack as another top-ranking male, or as the second in command, you should see Cochise's face. He's like, whatever. Like, go ahead. I'm not challenging you. Just go do what you want to do. I'm not in your way. Of course, Freedom's on top of him and growling at him, and Cochise is like, okay, he'll be over in a second. He just waits for it to be over. I was the one that was bothered by it. I'm the one who's, Freedom, you leave him alone. Cochise is just looking at me going, oh, he'll be done in a second, don't worry. Those are lessons for me, because I didn't like the way Freedom was treating him. And he doesn't care, because he knows who he is. I think that's the most important thing. He doesn't care because he's very secure and very solid in what he knows about himself. And so anything influence or anyone that comes in to influence that can't win because he knows. Cochise, the word for Cochise, I know it was an Apache warrior, and I think I watched some movie where, when I was little, where some white actor was playing, you know, Cochise. Who was the rifleman?
Oh, Chuck.
It was Chuck Connors.
Connors,
Yeah, Chuck Connors was playing Cochise.
Oh, no.
His blonde hair, blue eyes. But he had a red bandana, so when I saw Cochise being red, you know, I was like, he's Cochise. But when I looked up the word, it means wood. You cannot get more solid. and more grounded and more dependable, you know what I mean, than wood. And so here he is. Good boy, do you want to stay there? Anyway, we can count on him to be who he is and contribute what he contributes. Anyway, Ali is with us today. You know, we had Dakota last week, and he was kind of ailing, and I asked for you guys to think of him and to pray for him in the service as we went, and he was feeling a lot better this week. Now, Alaska is still kind of going through something, and she was to the vet twice. We're not concerned, but she needs to go back and maybe have an ultrasound and figure out what's going on with her. But so she's here today because she wants to be around us. Talk about counting on people who are not feeling well. She wants to be near us. So I would love to have her in your thoughts and prayers as we go through the service today. I say I'm not worried, but like, it's hard when you don't know what's wrong, you know? And it's hard to care for them without a veterinarian, you know, that lives next door. So we'll take her in again tomorrow. But I know. Good boy, Cochise. This is really unusual for him, right? Right? So I have this quote from Lao Tzu, which, if you don't know, he's kind of the founder or the founding father of Tao. Sometimes it's pronounced Tao, but it's spelled T-A-O. I find that it's like the Eastern version of the Native American philosophy. When you're content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. You know how you see other people and they don't have to like try to tell you who they are? That you don't even think about it. You take them at their word. You take them at their beingness. You take them as who they are. And there's a great deal of respect for someone who knows and sits in their own skin comfortably. I don't know if I can pronounce this, but Fyodor Dostoevsky says, man is fond of counting his troubles, but he does not count his joys. If he counted them up as he ought to, he would see that every lot has enough happiness provided in it. You know, we do the burden basket at the end of the service. For those of you who haven't been here, the Native American women used to carry a burden basket, and they were only allowed to carry as much as they could bear because they couldn't afford to lose a pack member. Basically, couldn't get injured, so they carried their burdens, and then when they emptied them, they put their basket on the outside of their dwellings to remind them not to bring their burdens into their sacred living space. Right? So, and then it was also a reminder for others not to take their burdens into your sacred living space. You know? And there's a fine line between needing each other and coming together like we're doing today, you know, and to be together, to know the same truth, to give comfort to each other, to allow someone who's hurting into your scope, do you know what I mean? And be held up by the love in the room. But not to dump your burdens on. Does that make sense? It's hard to help someone who's just dumping rather than being who they are in this moment, hurting just the way they are. That's embraceable. Does that make sense? But sometimes you feel like some people are coming to you and they're shaking you and it's like, help me feel better. The philosophy of that, though, is, you know, we've been taught that. We've kind of been taught to need each other in that way rather than be individuals hurting and being heard for that hurt and being recognized for that pain and being around people who just love you. And then that's where the healing comes in. The healing comes from us knowing that pain too and recognizing it in you and being able to hold the space of love for you like someone held it for us. I think that's the only reason why we need the community. Otherwise, we'd all be off on our own like lone bears, you know what I mean? Taking care of ourselves and licking our own wounds, but they also eat their young. It's true. It's true. You know? Now that you think about it, you know, there's a lot of people who eat their young because they don't know that. Because they don't know they're in community. They don't know that what they're feeling and what they're frustrated about, what they don't know, is something that they could be in community and find an answer for and to reach out, you know, past and beyond what's going on here. That somebody might have some information that will help you get past what you're going through. And those people who don't reach out and isolate themselves in those ways and don't understand their own individuality and somebody else's individuality, they basically can eat you up. You know, you've got friendships that can eat you up because they need you in a way that has nothing to do with something sustainable about who you are. A little hummingbird came to see you. Little red hummingbird.
I don't know why you didn't fill up their thing.
I did. They want to know why there's no flowers yet, and yet it's springtime. Do you know what I mean? It's very, very hot, unseasonably hot. But this idea of what you can count on from somebody else. Honestly, the only thing we can do is sit in a space of love. And have love and room for each other. No matter what somebody's going through. And then for you to know that no one can take away your experience and make it different. So your expectation of what somebody else can do. Do you know what I mean? Even me, I can't take away your experience. But if I recognize it, I can know you. And I can see it, and I can acknowledge it. And I can say, just breathe with it, with us. But I can't take it from you. I wish I could. You know what I mean? Those times where you want to just take the pain away from somebody. And eradicate it for them. And that's not within my power. It's not within my power. The only thing I can do is love you because I know and have experienced at one time or another something that you have experienced. Because we've all got that, no matter how old you are. No matter how old you are, you have experienced loss, you have grieved something. You have been hurt. You've been injured. And you've been abandoned by people you can't enough. And there's probably more if I did the list. But if I spent every single day on that list, going through that story, reliving those moments every single day, I'm not going to be able to sit in a space of love. I'm going to sit in a space where I want to eat somebody else. And if I can't take revenge out on the person who did it, I'm going to take it out on you. And it continues to, basically, you end up eating yourself alive from the inside out. So, wherever you are in your chairs right now, from this talk so far, just let the chair that you're sitting in hold you. And close your eyes if it makes you feel comfortable. Sing along if you know it.
Sugar is still
Just take a deep breath. You don't have to hold on to yourself. You're in a safe place. The chair has you, and gravity has the chair, so you cannot fall. of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of grace, forever safe in the arms of love. Like a child receives protection from a mother's warm embrace, we are held in the hands of grace. We are held in the hands of
Oh, wow.
Here's what I know. More than anything, that sound and that synchronicity is going to go to his pack. Is evidence to me that there is an intelligent force, a life force, a creative energy that flows in, around, and through us. And it is what I call God, what you can call anything that makes sense to you. A higher power, the great mystery, the great creator, whatever it is. But I know that we are made of such stuff. And that every living thing, seen and unseen, every life, affirming life thing, from trees to insects to bees, are flowing with this energy, and we are one with it. And so I claim for each and every one of you that this morning brings some kind of peace to your heart, knowing that you are loved and that you do not have to be anything more than who you are and what you are, sitting in the experience that you are sitting in now. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to gain. You are perfect, whole, and complete in every single way, down to the marrow of your bones. And I say that that is wonderful, and that is perfect, and that is amazing. Because you are amazing. You have a purpose, and that I can count on. Everyone sitting here has a divine purpose that they serve while they're here and beyond. Because you leave your paw print here, no matter what. And you leave it behind because you made a mark in every person's life that you touched. And that's a holy thing. That's a holy thing. So I say thank you, thank you, thank you for your presence, for this knowingness, for your presence. And I release it knowing that it is perfectly done, you are perfectly whole, and that my words have truth in them. And I know that the law of love and the law of the universe and all the laws of anything are holding you in the hands of grace. And you can count on that. And so it is. So it is. Aho. Namaste. Amen. Whichever word solidifies and embodies that for you. Okay. Okay. Willie Nelson, when I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around. Very, very simple. Very, very simple. What can you count on? What can you count on? Anyway, I have special music here by Karen Canfield. And the first song that she's going to sing is with her sister, Linda.
Yay!
And it's called Tomorrow Will Be Brighter by the Secret Sisters. Tomorrow will be kinder. Well, look, this was from my brow. Tomorrow will be kinder. It will also be brighter. Hello.
Hello.
lost my mind, but now the present will not last, and tomorrow will be kinder. Tomorrow will be kinder. It's true, I've seen it before. A brighter day is coming my way. Yes, tomorrow will be kinder. Today I've cried a many tear, and pain is in my heart. Around me lies a somber scene. I don't know where to start, but I feel warmth on my skin. The stars have all aligned. The wind has blown, but now I know that tomorrow will be kinder. Tomorrow will be kinder. I know I've seen it before. A brighter day is coming my way. Yes, tomorrow will be kinder. A brighter day is coming my way. Yes, tomorrow will be kinder.
Beautiful.
But I still loved it even.
Did you like that song? Was that nice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what were those howling coming from? Your
They were coming from our other wolves. Yeah, the sisters. It's true.
the sisters?
Yeah, they were calling for their brother. So he's back with his pack now.
After the first song, that happened.
I know. It did. Jeff Bezos says the thing that motivates me is a very common form of motivation, and that is with other folks counting on me. That's what gets me motivated, and it's easy to be motivated. You know, sometimes it's hard to show up. You know, and other people don't know what's going on. You know, those times where you're devastated and you still have to go to work and you show up. And everybody kind of knows that something might be going on and no one wants to tread into that area, you know? And I've had many times in my life that way. And I knew that every single person that I was working with knew it and was holding me and helping me through my shifts. You know, we do that for each other silently because if we possibly said something, we're afraid that the person will fall apart. And then what would we do? You know? And then what would they do? You know, when a family member is hurting or there's a breakup or something and then someone says, don't say anything, she'll just fall apart. You know? I think it's important to at least acknowledge it. And so they fall apart for a second. You know? But I think most of the time you know when someone knows and they're holding that space for you so you can get through this moment to the next moment till you can find a comfortable place to put yourself and to fall and to relax into, where you can be held elsewhere in a different way. tomorrow will be kinder. You know, today is kind enough. Because I think for the most part, people are kinder than not. I was reading this morning, Joan Baez did a concert. And did you see that article? No. Joan Baez did a concert in Idaho. And there were 4 Vietnam vets who came with signs going, we are not the baby killers, you are. Yeah. Because she sang during the Vietnam War she was part of the Peace March. And these 4 individuals believed that she was part of that crowd, and there was this crowd that hated the soldiers instead of the situation as well. So they weren't fighting for peace, they were fighting against anyone who was fighting. And I know a lot of Vietnam, we've got one here, Don is a Vietnam vet, but I know my first year in college is when the draft ended and the Vietnam War ended. So I was old enough to have friends that were preparing for the draft to go to Vietnam. And then I knew, of course, the guys that were coming back. And there were people who actually described it as though they never got off the plane. Because at least they were with their buddies and their comrades when they were in the plane. Because they were being met by an onslaught of protesters who were calling them baby killers and murderers. And it was horrible for them. Horrible for them. I can't even imagine these 4 men and what they must have gone through and what they're still holding against this woman who's saying peace songs. Do you know what I mean? To show up with signs like that, with such an attack like that. And she was told about them. And so an hour before she's supposed to be getting ready and preparing for her concert, she went out to meet them and to talk to them in the parking lot. And the person writing it was going, I can't believe she came down. And of course she came down in peace. And she came down to talk to them. And she came back down to tell them that she never felt that way about it. And to tell them that what she wanted was peace. You know, a lot of people wanted Mother Teresa to come to an anti-war protest back then. And it's a famous statement, and she said, when you have a peace march, I will come. There's a big difference. It's a big difference. And she was able, from what I could tell by the article, to soften 3 of the 4. And then one just wasn't going to give her a break. And you know, my heart breaks for him to be feeling like this still after decades. Does that make sense? So I can't even imagine what he experienced there and experienced coming home. The pain that he's still in all these years later, that he cannot count on anyone, including himself, to soften for himself. And she went to her concert, and basically she's dedicated a song, and she said that, you know, I met these men and they experienced this and they just want to be heard. And so I want them to know I heard them, and she sang a song for them. Now somebody else would go, oh my God, I'm not going out there, I'm going to be afraid, they're going to do something to me, they're calling me baby killer, you know, that's a horrible name to call somebody, you know. And she walked right into it in peace, with kindness for her enemies, for people who wanted to disrupt it on such a level. And they got an onslaught too, apparently, through the, you know what I mean, people walking up to them. Anyone who doesn't know that war was wrong, you know what I mean? It's like, this was their experience. That's not an appropriate or kind thing to say to a Vietnam vet.
When was it?
I don't know, I just read it this morning. I was like, this is amazing, you know? But it's the truth. Our job is to be kind to each other, no matter what's coming at us. If you meet that with kindness, she softened 3 out of 4. Those are great odds. Those are great odds. Can she take their pain away? What they felt at the time where they came home from this horrible situation to, like a mass of the people in their country thinking that they were part of the problem and they had no choice.
Yeah.
They didn't know that a president would come along and pardon everybody who went to Canada. They knew that if they went, they could probably never come home and see their families again. And they were Americans. They didn't want to be Canadians. What they risked, because you got a piece of paper in the mail and said, you gotta go. We don't know what's happened to each other. I say this all the time. I don't know your experience. But I know that your life is full of joys and pleasures and peace and kindness and love, whether it comes from your parents, your family, and now an extended created, family that you've been able to come into a community or a gathering where you find love in your life. Because we seek it out. It's like how the sperm finds the egg. It knows where it's going. No one has to tell it. And it swims in that direction. It swims towards life itself. And we do too. We do too. We do. We are searching for our heart's desires to be met at every moment. No matter what has happened to us, that's where we're reaching. That's where our hearts and our energies want to go. And we do gravitate towards people who can help us there. But sometimes if we sit so much in the anger, we're going to gravitate to the scar. That story about the scorpion that gets a ride across the pond from the frog?
Yeah.
He talks the frog into letting him, I can't get across the pond, so the frog's going, no, but you're a scorpion, you'll sting me. And he's like, no, I won't sting you, just give me a ride across the pond. So he gives him a ride across the pond. The scorpion stings the frog, and the frog goes, why did you do that to me? And he goes, well, I am a scorpion after all.
That's my nature.
It's in my nature. Someone said to me once, don't sleep with a snake and then get surprised that it bites you. Yeah. Last week I talked about diving into, the water moccasins, head first. There's each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive. Those friends? And it's only by this meeting that a new world is born. And we know who those people are. Sometimes we want to actually get burnt again to justify our pain. Done it many, many times. See? With every single incident, with my eyes open, I go, see? The world is a nasty place and it's full of snakes. Yeah, but I stuck my hand in the hole a bit too. A.A. Milne from wrote Winnie the Pooh. Promise me you'll always remember, you're braver than you believe. You're stronger than you seem and smarter than you think. These are the things that we can count on. You are constantly invited to be what you are, Ralph Waldo Emerson. You are constantly being reminded to be what you are. Janis Joplin, don't compromise yourself. You're all you've got. I think that's brilliant. Once again, probably a song lyric somewhere. Janis Joplin. She couldn't have been more herself, right? And the only place we liked her was when she was singing. Because she was really ostracized in every single other way as soon as she stepped off stage. Don't compromise yourself. You're all you got. Don't walk behind me. I may lead. Don't walk in front of me. I may not follow. Just walk beside me and be my friend. We also sometimes gravitate to people where we need them to be something for us, and they cannot ever measure up. The beginning of love is the will to let those we love be perfectly themselves. The resolution not to twist them to fit our own image. If in loving them we do not love what they are, but only their potential likeness to ourselves, then we do not love them. We only love the reflection of ourselves we find in them. And Alice Walker, who wrote the color purple, sorry. No person is your friend who demands your silence or denies you your right to grow. These are the things you can count on that people are bred and raised to believe. Does that make sense? We actually come from a culture where we were raised to believe that we need each other to fulfill what's inside of us. And no person can do that. And a lot of our task through daily things is to remember that and not to have that expectation from someone who can never meet it. Because you're going to lose every single time. They're going to hurt you every single time. They're going to break your heart every single time. Every single time. Nobody can be, and nobody owes you a life. You are the life itself, and they are their life itself. And like the wolf pack, we come together as individual, unique beings with who we are and contribute that to each other. That's why I can't be the brother to my sisters. I mean, just even imagine it. I can't make myself Cochise no matter what I try to do. And I cannot make Cochise like me, no matter what I try and do. The only thing I can do is alienate him because I have an expectation he can never meet, which feels like abandonment. And it actually is. You cannot love someone truly if you're expecting them to be different than they are. Love unconditionally, but rely only on yourself. And out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, and I will meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass and the world is too full to talk about. I will meet you in the field and lay down in the grass where we are one, but not each other. You were born together, and together you shall be forevermore. But let there be spaces in your togetherness. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Give one another your bread, but eat not of the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each one of you be alone, even as the strings of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music. Isn't that great? She likes that. That's Khalil Gibran. We make beautiful music together, but only if we stay who we are. If you took two of those strings and melted them together, it would create a different sound, and maybe it would not be harmonious. Anyway, Karen's going to come back and sing another song for us, and it's called Count on Me.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light We find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah. And you're tossing and you're turning and you just can't fall asleep. I'll sing a song beside you. And if you ever forget how much you really mean to me, every day I will remind you. We find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah. You'll always have my shoulder when you cry. I'll never let go, never say goodbye. You know you can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, I can count on you like 4, 3, 2, and you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do, oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, yeah. You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "The glory of friendship is not the outreached hand, not the kindly smile, nor the joy of companionship. It is the spiritual inspiration that comes to one when you discover that someone else believes in you and is willing to trust you with friendship." Yeah. That's what it is, right? Anyway, thank you so much for coming, you guys. I just want to let you know that we exist pretty much solely, other than Paul, what he does for a living, on your kindness and your donations and your willingness to help us financially. And there's a couple of bowls around for the wolves. It all goes directly to them and their needs and what we're building here. Wolf Wisdom is only a part of that process. So we really thank you in advance for your gifts. And Margie for making the feathers for us. And Brandon, thank you. For Casey who brought us to Cochise. All of your gifts, it's just really great. The burden basket is over there. We need to partake of it. Because it's too hot to light a fire, just throw it in the basket and we'll take care of it ourselves later. And then, yeah, that's it. That's it. I want to thank you. We're going to visit with the wolves afterwards. And so we're going to end with a song that we do, and it has sign language to it. So for those of you who haven't been here before, I'm going to do the sign language while Paul's preparing. But it's, "You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart," and then tuck it in. "You are a part of me. You are the face of God." We repeat it twice, and then it has a little refrain.